What are all the variants that should already have been added to the game on the F-18? Yes, guys, the F-18 Hornet is an aircraft that should already be added to the game, but it wasn't, and it isn't right now, right? But what are the variants that should already be in the game? You know, the variants that are already on the performance level that we have right now in top tier, or even lower. So let's talk about that. Just a little thing before we get into it. Remember, I'm not gonna explain everything about the aircraft itself. I'm just talking about specific variants out of it, okay? So, yeah, not gonna get to this every single performance status, the history of the vehicle, everything like that, right? I'm gonna get to the actual variants that should be added today on the F-18 Hornet, okay? So let's start very slowly with the F-18A, guys. This is the initial variant that should have been added a long time ago. Maybe added between the F-14s or even after the AV-8B Plus, before the AV-8B Plus, I don't know. 80 stack, okay, the radar is the same as the AV-8B Plus, so the APG-65. Great radar, around 100, 120 kilometers of range, depending on the size of the target. Remember, the Harrier does have a different variant of the radar to be able to carry some different weapon systems and stuff, but still, in real life, even has air-to-ground modes that could actually be able to be used to find targets, to ground map, everything with that. So the F-18 would have around the same range in radar as we have right now. In the performance status, it should be similar to what we see in the game right now. Is it going to be amazing? Yes, but it will not break the game like some content creators say, okay? The F-18 is not a super mega 6th generation aircraft. It is still a 4th generation jet, guys. There's a lot of biases towards these type of things. The F-18 is amazing. It is going to be one of the best aircraft in the game, but it's definitely not breaking the game, okay? So it should have been added a long time ago. We need this aircraft because it's too like crazy iconic to not be added right now. Amazing turning capability. One of the best in the air at this time, you know, with the current meta. The only problem that this aircraft actually has in performance is technically the lack of max speed. It is around Mach 1.8, but to be honest, we barely even use these speeds in the game, so it won't matter. The acceleration is amazing, one of the best in the game. The engines are amazing, one of the best in the game. It's very light, but remember, the thrust to weight of this aircraft is very similar to something like the MiG-29. It is a heavier aircraft than the F-16, sorry. So it should be like I tend to say that it's going to be similar to the MiG-29 in flight performance, but turning more. That would be kind of it, because even the flight model of the 29 is kind of weird, right? But think about a Super F5 that has kind of the thrust weight of a MiG-29. So amazing acceleration. The MiG-29 is one of the fastest accelerating aircrafts in the game, but you know, with an F5 kind of line of thinking of turning and not so much of a top speed. That would be kinda very simplified how the F-18 should feel like, okay? Weapons include literally everything that the US used, so Sparrows and AIM-9s from the time. So you should expect the M variants, you know, the AIM-7M and AIM-9M. The Vulcan, of course, main gun, 578 rounds, can carry 4 Sparrows and 2 AIM-9s, or 4 AIM-9s and 2 Sparrows, but there is a way of carrying double pylons of AIM-9s that would make it be able to carry 6 AIM-9s and then 2 Sparrows as well. In the air-to-ground role, it can literally carry everything, as I said, so Maverick E's, AGM-88, HARMs, you know, anti-radiation missiles, non-guided, guided bombs, wall ITV guided bombs, non-guided rockets, nuclear bombs, even in real life, Harpoon anti-ship missile, of course, FLIR systems and external fuel tanks. So this is the F-18A, okay? This should be around 13.0, 13.3, being on the same BR as F-15A, Su-27 after the BR change. It should be something like that, okay? AIM-9Ms, AIM-7Ms, and a lot of air-to-ground capability, and an amazing radar that could even be better in later models. Then we go for the F-18C, guys. This is the real one, you know, the later model of the legacy Hornet. They modernized F-18 in the late 80s, early 90s. The radar was upgraded. This is the main change. The radar is the whole system, right? But the radar is upgraded to the PG-73, which is a way better radar, making it be able to fire M120s. And of course, this will make the F-18 be 13.7 using M120s and AIM-9Ms. It had more range on the radar, around 160 kilometers, the main sources claim, right? Ground modes were way better, and of course they were so good that the aircraft could actually be able to do an attack in bad weather as well, you know, ground attack with this radar. So very good radar, really good. And VDs were introduced, better thermal systems on the FLIR systems to be able to be better at attacking at night. It had a new engine producing 20% more thrust, and with the AIM-120s you can take double stacks too, making it be able to use more missiles. For example, using 8 AIM-120s or 6 AIM-120s and 2 AIM-9s, for example, okay? Same loadouts are still possible, obviously with better versions of everything that I talked about. Better harpoons, better Mavericks, better everything, including JDAMs, okay? So it will be able to use non-guided, guided bombs, everything that the US has. It's one of the most complete aircraft that the US ever produced, to be honest. The one, like, the most multi-role thing ever. That's the F-18, right? Then we go for the other variants. These are the variants that I think should be added to the American Tech 3, US Tech 3, F-18A, 13.0, 13.3, and the F-18C with AIM-120s, better radars, at 13.7, okay? Then we have some interesting variants. The F-18B, which is a B-placed variant of the A. It's basically the same aircraft, but with an like extra, you know, the Rio there. So perfect to be an event vehicle or premium vehicle, or even the F-18D, if that's added, to be able to be an event or premium vehicle. Of course, if the F-18C is the top tier, the B should be the one added as an event vehicle, being a lower tier, right? Extras, there is one F-18 that it's pretty interesting. The F-18A Plus for the US could be added as well, but the thing is, it just makes more sense to just add the F-18C already, but the F-18A Plus would be basically an F-18A with some upgrades from the C, mainly the radar, okay? So, but, you know, just add the F-18C. It makes a lot more sense to be the top tier instead of that F-18. Maybe as an event or premium, whatever. And then we go for the actual other nations, which is pretty interesting. There are technically 3 nations, yes, 3 nations that can carry an F-18. The first one would be the Swiss ones. They did use the F-18Cs and Ds, so everything that I talk about on the F-18C or the B-placed version could be added to top tier Germany. Actually, Germany, guys, could really benefit from this, because the next step up in performance of an aircraft for the Germans is the Eurofighter. So instead of adding the Eurofighter, maybe adding for now the F-18C would make a lot more sense, since the nation wouldn't have, maybe Gaijin doesn't want to jump straight to the Eurofighter right now. So an F-18C would be something that would really help Germany remain competitive, something that it is not right now with the top tier jets, okay? The second one is the F-18 for Finland. Yes, the Finnish also did use the F-18C or D, you can choose, that can be added. This is less, you know, of major thing that needs to be added, because the Finnish Tech 3 is in the Swedish Tech 3, and they do have one of the best aircraft in the game, which is the Gripen, so it's not as needed as the Swiss F-18 for the Germans, but it is still pretty cool, and if it's added, should be added after the MiG-21 bis. If it's a C, top tier, right? And then we have the one that it's kind of a stretch. I don't know if I would add this version or not, because again, this is the one that maybe they don't need one, but it's something that would be helping them as well. An F-18 for the British as a Canadian CF-18 or an Australian F-18. They both did use it as an A or B version, so which means it is going to be a lower BR with worse missiles, right? So it means that it's not gonna be a top tier aircraft. That's why I think it's cool if the British actually did have a Canadian or especially Australian F-18, just because it would be a 13.0, 13.3, so it wouldn't be a problem in top tier meta, because the Gripen would still be the best aircraft they have until we receive the Eurofighter there as well. Okay, guys, these are the versions that I think should be added, or maybe. at least, you know, you should consider adding to the game of the Hornet. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe and click the like button. See you guys. Bye.